Stop for a moment and look around you, because something extraordinary is happening. You see, there is an invisible force that has moved heaven and earth so that your hands could touch this message. Your eyes could read these words, and your heart could receive this revelation. It wasn't chance, it wasn't luck, it wasn't coincidence. This was like a direct warning from the higher dimensions, a whisper from infinity that finally found its way to you, you know? For a long time, you've had a strange feeling, as if a piece of your own journey was missing, as if an important part of your story was hidden in the shadows. Now is the right time for the revelation. The time has come to realize that you have a sacred heritage running through your veins, a powerful legacy that has been passed down through generations and is now within you, waiting to be activated. Someone you loved very much, who touched your life forever, left you many memories when they died. This special person planted eternal seeds in the garden of your destiny. Those seeds lay dormant until your spirit was mature enough to make them grow. And that moment has arrived. Have you ever noticed how we suddenly have certain feelings that we can't explain? That chill that suddenly comes over you, that tear that escapes you for no reason, that comforting feeling that you are not alone, even when you are alone. Look, it's not that these phenomena are just things you make up, you know. These little touches are like signs that there is a connection between those who are alive and those who have died. True love has something unique. It transcends the barriers of physical death. When someone loves us with purity and intensity, that feeling creates invisible bridges that connect hearts across dimensions, establishing bonds that even final separation cannot break. And that is precisely what happened to you. The love that this special person felt for you created a direct connection between the material and spiritual worlds, which means that blessings, protection, and guidance constantly reach you. During all this time, you thought you were without guidance, that you had been abandoned in heaven, that the higher powers had forgotten you. But the reality is completely different. You have never been alone, not even for a second. Do you feel a constant presence by your side? Do you feel a protective energy accompanying your every step, witnessing your every tear, celebrating your every achievement? Before continuing, write in the comments, "I now activate my spiritual protection shield." This will attune your energy to the power of the angels and prevent any shadows from approaching. Now, listen carefully. Look. It is important to understand that this message has come to you for a special reason. Precisely today and at this moment in your journey, it was not a conscious choice that brought you here. It was a higher calling, a call that came to you through the celestial spheres until it found your heart ready to receive truths that you could not bear before. Look, There is something very powerful at work behind the scenes of your life. You see, there are things that happen in the world, like coincidences, people meeting, opportunities arising. All of this causes good things to happen in your life. Doors that have been closed for years will begin to open naturally. A lot of people will appear on your path who can help you grow, but who don't seem to be related. Your financial resources that were blocked will find a way to reach you. But before all that happens, there has to be some inner work. Man, your heart is being healed right now as you read this. The wounds of the past are being treated with understanding. The deepest fears are being dissolved by the energy of unconditional love. You know, the guilt you carried unnecessarily is being forgiven by divine mercy. That special person who left did not leave with disappointment or resentment towards you. On the contrary, they left full of gratitude for every moment shared, for every gesture of affection received, for every demonstration of love you exchanged. And more than that, they left with specific requests to heaven to intercede for your happiness, entrusting your name and your future to higher powers. The time has come to realize that you are not a victim of life's circumstances. You know that. You are a special person chosen by higher dimensions. You know you have a very important mission that goes beyond what you now understand. You have been chosen to make a difference in your family, to heal past and future generations, and to bless all those who cross your path. And this is where we realize that this sacred heritage that runs through your veins. Comfort, ... Now is the time to wake up to a reality that goes far beyond what your eyes can see. The heritage you carry within you is not just an emotional thing. It is also a real transfer of gifts, skills, and abilities that have been carefully cultivated by that special person and are now being activated in you. Have you noticed how your intuition has become more acute since that person left? How did you start feeling things before they even happened? How do words of wisdom come out of your mouth without you knowing where they came from? This is not a coincidence, nor is it in your head. These are concrete signs of a spiritual transfer that took place when the soul changed dimensions. Did you know that when someone we love very much dies, a part of us stays with that person? It's as if our soul connects to that person's soul. And this allows us to do what they didn't have time to do, to receive this energy in your life. Write in the comments, "My energy is sacred, and no evil has power over me. From this point on, nothing will be the same. ... You have within you not only your mission, but also the dreams you haven't fulfilled, the prayers you haven't heard, and the projects you didn't finish because of those who have left. Look, I know it may seem like a heavy burden, but believe me, It's the best gift you could ever receive. The responsibility is enormous, but you also have all the spiritual tools you need to do it in the best way possible. Lately, you have been feeling an inner restlessness, a sense that you should be doing something different, that there is a greater purpose waiting to be discovered. This concern is not anxiety or personal dissatisfaction. It is what your soul is telling you to do, to take your place as the continuer of a lineage of light, as the keeper of family secrets that need to be revealed, as a bridge between worlds that need to be reconnected. There is one very specific thing we need to understand about the moment we are living in. Higher forces are releasing special resources for those who are willing to fully embrace their spiritual heritage. These are not only material resources, although these are also part of the package. They are primarily energetic resources, divine connections, angelic protections, and dimensional openings that will completely change your life experience. In this phase of spiritual strengthening, there is a set of sacred tools that have been prepared especially for this moment of transition you are experiencing. These are resources that come from the higher realms to accelerate your spiritual activation process and ensure that you have everything you need to safely navigate this new phase of your journey. The link to access these tools is in the pinned comment or in the description of this video, because there are times when we need help to endure such profound transformations. Now I'm going to say something that may be difficult to hear, but it's really important for your growth. You weren't chosen for this mission because you were the most prepared or the strongest in your family. You were handpicked because you were the most sensitive, the most compassionate, the most capable of feeling the pain of others and transforming it into healing. Your sensitivity, which you may have considered a weakness, is actually your greatest asset. The tears you shed during this time do not mean you are weak. They were rituals of purification that prepared your heart to receive revelations that only those who know pain and love well can understand. Every tear that fell from your eyes was like an offering to the heavens, showing your unconditional love and your ability to take on sacred responsibilities. And if this message has been important to you and you want to support its dissemination so that more people may also awaken to their spiritual heritage, click "Thank you." This small gesture helps keep alive the mission of bringing light to those who have not yet recognized their own power. Thank you very much. The person who died knew that you knew how to transform suffering into wisdom, loss into gain, absence into presence. They watched you for years, studied how you reacted to adversity, closely followed your evolution, and concluded that you were the only person in the family capable of receiving and properly managing the inheritance they were about to leave behind. Look, this inheritance isn't just good things, Oki. It also comes with the responsibility of ending bad habits that have been repeated in your family for generations, healing old wounds that have been passed down from parents to children for decades, and transforming family harm into good things. And to do such work, you must first go through the process of deconstruction and reconstruction that grief provides. During all these difficult months or years, you're not just suffering a loss. You were being prepared, strengthening yourself from within to bear the weight of the responsibility that has now been placed on you. Every sleepless night was a period of preparation. Every moment of solitude was an opportunity to reflect and grow spiritually, even if unintentionally. Unanswered question was a challenge to develop your faith. Now is the time to dive deeper into this mystery. Now is the time to dive deeper into this mystery that is stirring in your life. Look, this spiritual transfer is truly extraordinary. It goes far beyond what you can imagine. It is not just about receiving isolated gifts or abilities. You are being integrated into a heavenly network of souls who work together to fulfill specific purposes on the earthly plane. Your participation in this network was planned before you were born. That special person who died was not just someone dear to you in your life. They were your primary spiritual partner, your guide to prepare you during the early years of your existence on Earth for this exact moment of activation. Everything they taught you, every piece of advice they gave you, every gesture of affection they made, every example of life they offered you, was all planned to build within you the foundation necessary to sustain what is to come. Now, write in the comments, where there is light, no shadow remains. This statement shows your courage, faith, and spiritual rebirth. Continuing the message, ... Have you noticed how certain skills suddenly began to appear after that person left? How has your ability to understand people improved so much? How did you realize that people lie more easily, that they can say what they really think, and that you can identify when someone is trying to hide something, even if they don't do it on purpose? Look, these things don't happen because of maturity. These are abilities that were dormant and were awakened by the energy released at the moment of transition. There is a spiritual law that few people know about, which says that when a soul evolves to higher dimensions, it can transfer some of the talents it has developed to souls who are still on the physical plane. But be careful. For this to happen, these souls must have a connection of true love and be prepared to use these talents in a constructive way. This exactly what happened to you. It's not just a matter of memories or emotions. You see, You have inherited real abilities, authentic spiritual powers, and functional energetic tools. But as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. Which is why this activation process did not happen immediately after your departure. First, you needed to go through a period of emotional purification, inner strengthening, and spiritual maturity. You had to show the people who matter most to you that you could handle these talents well, without letting your ego or vanity get the better of you. Man, during this whole time, your spirit guides were watching you. They watched everything you did, everything you felt, everything that crossed your mind. They wanted to see if you would use the pain to become bitter or compassionate. If you would use the loss to close yourself off from the world or to open yourself up to new opportunities. If you would turn absence into despair or into motivation to grow, you scored high enough to pass the test. Your soul showed that you have the purity you need to have spiritual powers without becoming corrupt. The humility necessary to receive higher guidance without thinking you are self-sufficient. And the courage necessary to face great responsibilities without cowering. You know, now you have access to tools that were previously only available to those at more advanced levels. One of these tools is the ability to perceive synchronicities with impressive clarity. You will begin to see how events in your life connect in ways that don't seem possible. For example, you will see how the right people show up at the exact moments you need them, and how important information comes to you through the most unlikely channels. This is not luck or coincidence. It's as if the entire universe is reorganizing itself to support your mission. Did you know that you are also activating your ability to energetically influence the environments you pass through? Places that were previously heavy or negative will begin to change naturally when you are present. People who are depressed or discouraged will begin to feel more hopeful after talking to you. You know, those situations that seemed hopeless. Well, after your intervention, they start to resolve themselves in unexpected ways. You will also receive the gift of the anointed word. The casual conversations you have will have a profound emotional impact on people. People may think the advice you give is obvious, but to those who hear it, it can be like a transformative revelation. Did you know that the prayers you say for other people are super effective? Your words of comfort will bring a peace that goes beyond normal human understanding. But look, what I think is the most important of all the gifts you are receiving is the ability to end generational curses through your own transformation. Those destructive patterns that have been repeated in your family for decades will be automatically broken by the new energy that now flows through you. Addictions, illnesses, toxic relationships, chronic financial problems, hereditary, depressional. Of this will be blocked in your generation and will not be passed on to future generations. You will become an ancestral purifier, someone capable of cleansing not only your own destiny, but also the energy line of your entire family. This means that even your deceased relatives will benefit from the spiritual work you do, and your living relatives will begin to see their own lives change for the better. Even without realizing why, the time has come to realize that this mission is not something you can choose to accept or not. The time has come to realize that this mission is not something you can choose to accept or refuse according to your whims. This calling is more than choosing for yourself, because it affects not only you, but a whole network of people who are connected by karmic ties and common goals. As you know, you have already been chosen, prepared, and empowered. Now, you are officially activated for service. Look, this does not mean that you have lost your autonomy or that you have become a passive instrument in the hands of higher forces. On the contrary, it is a sign that your true essence is finally being released to express itself fully, that your most genuine talents are being directed toward causes that really matter, and that your life is gaining a meaning that goes far beyond personal survival or the pursuit of individual satisfaction. In the coming days and weeks, you will begin to see concrete changes in your external reality that will confirm everything that has been revealed to you. People from your past will suddenly appear and give you important opportunities or information. Your financial resources that were blocked will find a way to reach you. Problems that seemed unsolvable will begin to be resolved. Doors that have been closed for years will open by themselves. Now write in the comments, "I am guided, protected, and strengthened by the angels of light." This affirmation shows your courage, faith, and spiritual rebirth. Continuing the message, ... But before these external changes can fully take place, there is some inner work we must complete. You must forgive everything you think you did wrong. In relation to the person who left, you have to let go of the guilt for things you didn't say, for moments you didn't take advantage of, for opportunities you missed to show your love. Forget that guilt, because it gets you nowhere. It's just an energy block that prevents you from using your new powers to their fullest. The person who died was not angry with you. On the contrary, they understood perfectly that you did the best you could at the time with the resources you had. They understood that the love between you was real and deep, even when it couldn't be expressed perfectly. And more importantly, they knew that you would have other opportunities to connect, other ways to show affection, other levels of relationship that went beyond physical barriers. Look, physical death is not the end of a relationship. It's just a change in the way it happens. The channel of communication has not been cut off. It has just changed frequency. Instead of talking, you now communicate through intuition, synchronicities, dreams, and energetic sensations. Instead of hugs, you now comfort each other with a more discreet presence, but one that appears when you need it most. And if you feel that this message has really touched you, remember that supporting this cause is also a gesture of love. If you like it, you can click on "Thank you very much" so that more people can receive words that save, welcome, and awaken. This new form of relationship is actually purer and more powerful than anything you have experienced when you were on the physical plane. Because now there is no longer the filter of human personalities, bodily limitations, or material distractions. Now, what we have is the pure essence of love, which connects to souls who recognize each other as partners for life on a journey of growth together. One of the most important things you will do is show that it is possible to overcome devastating losses and come out of them stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. You know, many people around you have noticed how you have dealt with this absence, how you have found ways to continue living despite the pain, how you have discovered meaning in the midst of the absurdity of loss. Your healing process is not only personal, it is a beacon of hope for all those who are also facing or will face similar situations. You know the way you transform sadness into legacy, absence into presence, end into beginning. Is super inspiring and guiding for those who need to see that it is possible to overcome the unbearable and still celebrate life. Look, your mission is not just to be an inspiring example. You are also being prepared to be an active person who makes a difference in the lives of others. Your own experience of pain and recovery has given you spiritual credentials to access and comfort wounded parts of the human soul. Only those who have gone through the same kind of suffering can do this. You know, when you talk to someone who is going through similar losses, your words will have a weight and authenticity that will break through emotional defenses that normally cannot be broken. You know, when you help people who are sad, you make them feel better. And that is much better than just using psychological techniques or motivational phrases that lead nowhere. You will become a specialized translator of the language of grief. You will be able to give voice to feelings that people cannot express, validate experiences that others consider strange or abnormal, and offer hope based on real personal evidence rather than abstract theories about emotional recovery. There is also a material part of this inheritance that we must recognize and prepare to receive. There's also a material part of this legacy that we must recognize and prepare to receive. Higher forces do not only work in the spiritual realm, they also organize physical circumstances to ensure that we have everything we need to do our work in the best possible way. This means that important financial changes are being prepared for your life, and you need to have the right energy to receive them without internal blocks. You know, lately you may have experienced some financial difficulties or material restrictions that seemed to make no sense, especially when you consider your efforts and qualifications. These limitations were not punishments or signs of divine abandonment. They were times of financial purification when you learned to trust in higher provisions rather than relying solely on your own resources. And when your practical faith developed in concrete areas of life. Look, now that you have shown that you can keep hope alive when things are not easy, that you are generous when you don't have much money, and that you don't let financial problems get you down, you are being considered for greater things. You can write in the comments, "The light that guides me is stronger than any darkness." This shows that you are connected to the abundance that is coming. Continuing, ... Part of this material inheritance will come through channels you never imagined. It could be a forgotten document that gives you rights you didn't know you had. Could be someone from the past who returns with an unexpected proposal. It could be a job opportunity that comes up when you least expect it. It could be a creative idea that comes to you and proves surprisingly lucrative when put into practice. The most important thing is to realize that these provisions are not compensation for suffering or loss. These tools are really important for you to do the spiritual work you have been entrusted with. Look, we can't help others if we don't help ourselves, okay? Look, you won't be blessed if you're always thinking about making money. So accept with gratitude and without guilt the resources that will begin to appear in your life. Don't let false humility or misconceptions about spirituality cause you to refuse things that are important to your mission. Spiritual wealth and material stability are not opposites. They are, in fact, important parts of a balanced and happy life. Much of this financial change will be related to the discovery and development of talents you have that you have not yet exploited commercially. During your mourning and introspection, you had time to reconnect with your creativity, which had surely fallen dormant with your daily routine. Now, your talents are ready to show themselves in ways that will bring you personal satisfaction and generate substantial financial returns. You will find that as you help others, it will be a natural thing that brings you help. It is not because you will charge for your services, but because the universe ensures that those who dedicate themselves to the well-being of others have their needs well taken care of. It is a spiritual law that never fails the more you become a channel of blessings for others, the more blessings flow through you. But in addition to all that has been said, this change also has an impact on your family and those closest to you. The healing energy that is being activated within you will naturally spread to other members of your family, creating waves of positive transformation that will reach people who have no idea that you are going through this process of spiritual activation. Old conflicts between family members will begin to resolve themselves. Misunderstandings that seemed impossible to resolve will find a way to be understood and forgiven. People who were estranged for trivial reasons will feel a sudden urge to get back in touch with you. Health problems that have been affecting the family will begin to show signs of improvement. You know, there are legal and bureaucratic issues that have been stuck for years and will now finally be resolved. This is because you will become an energy harmonizer without realizing it, and your mere presence will balance and pacify environments that were previously charged with tension. Your inner change will create a kind of magnetic field of peace around you, which will positively influence everyone within your radius. You will also notice that people treat you differently. People who were previously indifferent or even hostile will begin to show respect and consideration in a way that is hard to explain. Children and animals will adore you. People who are going through difficult times will instinctively seek your company, even without knowing why. This is because your personal energy is being purified and raised to frequencies that naturally comfort, heal, and inspire others. You are becoming what the ancients called a blessed presence, someone who radiates so much inner light that their mere existence is a blessing to the world. But for all this to happen in the best way possible, there is one last step we must take. For all these changes to happen in the best way possible, there is one last step you must take. And that step depends on you making a conscious decision to fully embrace the new identity that is emerging within you. You can't go on living as if nothing has happened. You can no longer relate to the world in the old way, with the same mental and emotional patterns you used when you were not yet aware of the legacy you carry. Now is the time to say that you are free from what you left behind, and that you are building your future based on what you have now. The time has come to leave behind that version of yourself that lived at the mercy of others, that defined itself by the relationships it had, that constantly sought approval from the outside world to feel secure and valued. The person you are becoming is emotionally independent, not because you don't need love or companionship, but because you have discovered that you have within you a source of unconditional love that you can share generously and that never runs out. You are learning to love without attachment, to care without control, and to be present without losing yourself in the presence of others. You can write in the comments, "I am at peace. I am in the light. I am protected." This affirmation marks your total transformation and your new spiritual identity. Let's see the latest news. This new phase of our life brings responsibilities that go far beyond our family and social circle. We want you to be a person who makes a difference in the world. We want you to contribute to raising the collective consciousness of humanity through your example of overcoming adversity and spiritual growth. Look, this doesn't mean you have to become a religious leader or a spiritual teacher in the traditional sense. It means that we must live in a way that shows that it is possible to find deep meaning, even in the most difficult adversities. That we can have faith even when there seems to be no hope, and that we can love unconditionally even after losing something we loved very much. Your life will become a true work of spiritual art that will inspire others to discover their own capacities for transformation and transcendence. You don't have to say anything, just do what you do to show what you know. You don't need to convince anyone about eternal love. Just continue to honor and celebrate the memory of that loved one who has passed away in the coming months and years. You will receive constant confirmation that everything that has been revealed here is true and is happening in your reality. A lot of people will appear to share similar experiences and show that there are no coincidences in the way your life is changing. Dreams will give you clear messages about what to do next. You will be surprised by the impressive coincidences that will confirm that you are being guided by a higher intelligence that takes care of every detail of your life. And if this spiritual movement has touched you in any way, if you have felt clarity, acceptance, or just a sigh of relief, give thanks and say, thank you very much. This gesture is great. It strengthens the flow of light and allows these messages to reach other people who, like you, also needed to wake up to their sacred heritage. But the best confirmation of all will be the deep peace you will begin to feel about that loss that once seemed unbearable. It will not be a passive peace of resignation, but an active peace of understanding. You will realize that this person has not disappeared, but has only changed state and continues to participate in your life in a more intimate and powerful way than when they were physically present. You will discover that you can talk to them just by thinking, and they will respond through your intuition. You will see that you can ask for help when you have doubts, and that you will understand things later when things happen that seem unrelated. You will always feel accompanied, which will prevent you from ever feeling alone again. Look, the truth is that the inheritance you received is not only good things, you know. There are also less good things. You have been given a lifelong partnership with a person who now works with the higher dimensions to give you all the support you need to fulfill the mission you took on when you accepted the spiritual transfer. From today onwards, will you walk alone on the paths of life? You are accompanied by someone who knows your inner self well, who understands your fears and limitations perfectly, who truly believes in your potential, and who will always help you become the best version of yourself. Welcome to your new reality. Welcome to your sacred heritage. Welcome to the beginning of a super meaningful and transformative phase of your life. And now, dear soul who has reached the end of this journey of revelations, I would like to invite you to join our spiritual family in the comments below. Share the part of this message that touched you the most and how you will honor the heritage that is awakening within you. Your story may be exactly what someone else needs to recognize their own sacred mission. If you feel that these words came into your life at the right time, subscribe to the channel to continue receiving guidance to help you in your transformation process. We are more than an online community. We are a family of awakened souls who support each other on the journey of spiritual growth. Share this video with people who need to discover the sacred heritage they have within them. Sometimes we are chosen to bring light to those who are walking blindly, filled with doubts about their value and purpose.